It's a very young 30 years of my life experience in the professional side. I'm just going to tell you about a little bit more on the entrepreneurship. I started very young, and thanks to my mom and dad, they let me also explore some of the avenues of trying to do whatever I want to do. And I would say entrepreneurship has to come from within, right? A desire has to come from what you want to do, what you want to showcase, and what you want to actually achieve. I see a lot of students, a lot of youngsters in the last 30 years, things have changed, entrepreneurship itself has changed. I say today entrepreneurship is possibly close to entrepreneurship 5.0 or 4.0, or however you want to call it, right? And it's rapidly changing, rapidly evolving. And I only would say that my first vision was actually a very daunting vision that I started. And this is an anecdote of what I want to say in terms of how you have to start as a college student. And when I was in college, my first task, I went to US in 2000. I did my master's. I did a couple of businesses in India before going to master's. I met someone called Douglas Stewart over there in my MBA class. I was very well known for my case study solving and my financial acumen and technology, thanks to being a couple of things together. So one day after our course, he just came and said, Ajesh, I'm thinking of starting an airlines. And this is in 2002, after the September 11th. We've seen how it went. Most of the airlines was going down, and there was a lot of opportunities that are coming up, right? And this is where the entrepreneurship comes up. You will have a lot of people say it won't work, it didn't happen, it won't happen. And this is something I've gone through multiple times over there also in the US. But what changed from India to US was when I went to professor and said, hey, this is what we wanted to do. He didn't tell me that you guys are young and you guys are trying to open an airlines in US, where I'm an Indian over here and he is an American, he's a Native American. We went to the bylaws, we found out that Native American have a right to actually come up in airlines, and many of the airlines were actually privately owned by other conglomerates. So we said, let's look at it. And the airlines were started as Rose Airlines. And this was everything in the paper. We spent about 3 years, and I did the entire business strategy. I worked on the entire financial matrix of it. Douglas did the entire part of making sure, went to the government and tried to work with them, lobbyists and others, and Vijay was there trying to help the operations and trying to learn. And that was my turning point of learning experience as a founder. I would not even say that was not a word at that time. I would rather say as a part of a team member. And the first thing I said is, let us start looking how we have to, who's a competitor, how we have to do. We spent sleepless nights understanding different airline industries, went to different airports, tried to speak to them how the management, how the maintenance and other things happen, right? This is something was very new to me, because the first thing here would have said, this cannot happen. You cannot open an airlines. You won't be able to be successful as an airlines, and they can afterwards proved it also it was possible. And we tried this in 2002, 2003 in the US. The whole point of it is, when we went to the college, professor, he said, okay, let us sit down. I want to understand what you want to do. Who want you compete? You want to be a low-cost, mid-segment aircraft. You want to go against the US Airways. You want to go against United. You want to go against Continental. Pick what kind of aircraft. And these little details is what we spent time on, trying to understand how the matrix would work, the ROIs, the KPIs, the fundamentals of how money can be made, and the to the T of every operations, where all you can make the money and where all you have to save the money. And that's what I understood as an entrepreneur, which in our community we say is, it's not only about how much money you make, how much money you save also is important. And that was the fundamental principle if you went into an airline industry, is not to see how much money you can make, but how much you have to save, right? This kind of knowledge, this kind of setup only will happen when you have the drive as an entrepreneur. And that's when I realized that this is what we are missing in our education system. We are missing in some of our colleges. More than that, we are missing in ourselves. Even today, I started my first 2002 is the airlines. Come back to 2025, I built multiple businesses. I moved back to India. We have done some successful businesses as well. We are number 3 in many. But when I came back and said I will help entrepreneurs scale up businesses, the first thing my friends then said, what are you doing? Why are you leaving a very good flourishing businesses and career and saying I want to build entrepreneurs, I want to help them, and I want to structure startups or businesses? I said I want to give back something, I want to do something, and let me look at it, because I feel that there are people making good ideas, colleges supporting them, but I only don't see that the drive happening between the startup founders to come as a business. So I'm good at scaling businesses, I'm good at business, so let me take that shoe. So coming back to 2025, I started working with 2 founders. One is in drone tech, one is Ozone Motors, which is an electric car. We exited the drone tech to another big firm. Ozone Motors was something fundamentally close to me because I'm a car guy. I'm a racer from small. I like cars, I like to drive fast, and I thought when I grew up, I saw fundamentally there is certain things can be done in an electric vehicle. One is your planet Earth, ozone and all that stuff, but even if you take the electric powertrain itself, people don't understand there's a lot more different that can be created by that vehicle than actually an ICE vehicle as such. So let's start working on that. Help with the design, we came out, we showcased the car. But then again, the drive was the same when I came back over here. I just saw that everywhere I went, there was a roadblock. The first thing is, no one can make a car in India. There are only 3 guys who will make it. You won't be able to make it. You won't be able to get it out. So we made the prototype. Then they said, you can only stay with proto. You can't do any MVP. You can't showcase. We showcase the tech is best. We are among the first born EV electric car in here, in India. Yes, it was very difficult. We have not yet come to the market. We have a good order book. And that's when I realized the challenging situation in entrepreneurship is not only the individual, but also the entire society as such. And then you go through the entire entrepreneurial struggle, right? What you see in papers, what you see in books is always there. You have to go through you have to do everything as an entrepreneur. You have to take care of your books, you have to take care of your cleaning, you have to take care of prototyping, you can have to get your hands dirty, you have to do everything yourself. But when it comes to the point of others supporting, there is very less support that comes in India. And I feel very sad that many of them only come and tell you what not to do, but no one comes and tell what to do, right? In 2024-25, there have been fundamental changes in the system itself, thanks to various PMs and others who have put a fundamental thrust on the startup. The ecosystem has changed. And I think even COVID changed a little bit. People now are coming as mentors. People are ready to support you. People are ready to drive. I know as an entrepreneur, I'll sit in the night and sometimes I feel like crying because I don't know what's happening, where I'm going. And this is after having a successful streak. You are still stuck. You don't know who you can go and speak, who will be ready to help you, who will not help you, right? This is a mindset that has to be changed in a fundamental. So I took one part of it, which I learned from my seniors and from my fellow members as well in the ecosystem, is never take no for an answer, never regret things, and never feel ashamed when you're making a mistake. Failure is part of the journey, right? And here I'm trying to tell you today, what you have to unmute yourself is from having at a young age a very personal bias that I'm already doing this, I don't want to ask anyone, I don't want to. You have to go out. You will make mistakes. You will not be able to do a lot of things that you wanted. You will have roadblocks in every way. But it is not that roadblocks should stop you, but the roadblocks should make you go and try to see how you can find out a solution. And today that is a possibility. And I still see a lot of people here and there, a lot of students stuck, not ready to take no as an answer, not ready to take critique as to correct yourself. And that is one of the most fundamental things you have to change in yourself. Take no as an answer. It is okay. You can be wrong. You can make faults. You can make mistakes. But the most important thing is how you're going to correct yourself from these mistakes, how you're going to be able to prove yourself that you're going to do it. I'll give you an example of, I met someone and I asked, what do you want to do? right? We are in the car, have 30 minutes. You have to take that opportunity. The person didn't take that opportunity, right? You have to start saying, sir, I want to do this. You have so many eminent people coming in, and you have so many people also in your colleges itself. You're supposed to look at them and say, I have this thing. I want to actually become an aeronautical engineer. I want to become, basically, I want to make an electric vehicle. I want to make a drone or something. How you can help me? I have made an MVP. How can you help me connect with people? I find that resistance to ask is also a barrier over here. Don't have a resistance to ask anyone. Be shameless as being an entrepreneur. The most important thing as an entrepreneur is you have to be shameless and go and ask people. It's always a no if you're going to sit where you are. But if you get up and go and ask, you create a possibility of 50%. And I'll say most of the time you hit the right person, it is actually 90%, he'll end up helping you. Because a lot of people want someone to ask them so that they know what they can provide, right? So try to gauge who is right, who's wrong, who you have to reach out to, what is that you want. Even mental stress is one of the biggest things for entrepreneurs. A lot of people go through this because your families don't understand, your friends won't understand what you're doing, your professors and your families and other people might not, your society might not understand, right? But you have a vision. So when we started the electric car in about 5 years, 6 years back, the company is about 9 years old. People said we could not do this. If I had said no and stayed back, or the founder Deepak had stayed back and said no, he cannot do it, we would have not even built a car, we would have not built a prototype, we would have not got a vehicle out, and we wouldn't have been the first to build a born in India electric vehicle platform. So that no never has to be a resistance not for you to do. And that is because as an entrepreneur, it's always important to be a go-getter attitude. Make sure you define yourself, but that doesn't say that you go haphazardly. Make sure that you understand what you want to do. Do a lot of R&D, do a lot of research. Thanks to today, you have labs, you have incubations, you have centers, you have research available, you have Google available to do all your work also. You can go today and find out about a particular market you want to do. You can just go to Google and look at the market size and you will know what it is, right? So this is where it is very important for you to make sure that you do that homework before you go. And everyone talks about funding for the startups and all. I would say today you have about 50 to 100 crore of money available from most of the grants and funds. So you try to make sure that you are able to use those grants and the facilities from the government to make a MVP and then come to the market and then say, boss, I want to scale the business. And I think you will have many doors open. Many industries today are working with startups and founders. What you have to show is energetic enthusiasm and your perseverance to be able to get the product out to the market. I think that is the most important part. And I said, unmute yourself, go and ask what you want, and probably you will be able to scale high and get what you want. I think I will leave with that note and say that entrepreneurship is not just about a one-part activity to do. It's a journey, it's a lifelong journey, and try to make sure that if you have the streak, go ahead. There's nothing wrong even if you take a job. You can even be at a job as an entrepreneur. It's all about taking the task and completing and achieving and making yourself successful, and also defining the success around people. Thank you.